Cork Comedy Festival. Very much looking forward to it again this year. It takes place this month, September 21st to 24th. And it's in its second year in a row. I can't believe it's only in its second year in a row for a city that is such good crack. It's only in its second year in a row. But joining me this evening is Cornelius O'Sullivan, who is Cork comedian extraordinaire. Yeah, welcome, Cornelius.
Extraordinaire. Thank you very much. I can't stop looking at the camera. I know I'm supposed to be looking at you, but yeah, how are you?
No, you're very relaxed.
I'm too relaxed now. All of a sudden, I feel I'm too relaxed. I need to be a little bit more proper. Sorry, Fiona. Yes, yes, the Cork Comedy Festival. Yes,
the
fantastic.
Cork Comedy yeah. Well, listen, before we go into the Cork Comedy Festival, tell me a bit about yourself. You started comedy in London.
Yes.
And then you brought it to Cork.
I brought, yeah, there was no comedy at all in Cork. I got it in London and I brought it over on a plane and landed here.
There was literally no crack before you came back?
No, I brought it, the whole lot of it, yeah, the whole lot of it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, obviously I'm only messing. So I was in London, I don't know, about 8 years ago, 9 years ago I was in London, living in London, working in a bar, and I started doing some like kind of open mics, that kind of carry on, and I got the bug. And then I came home to Ireland and to Cork, where I'm from.
And is it a hard thing to get into?
It's not hard now, but it would have been difficult enough. Like when I came back to Ireland, there was nothing really at all in Cork bar City Limits, which is a great club, but you know, it's more for, I suppose, a more of a professional standard at the time. So if you're starting off, it was quite difficult to get gigs there or anywhere really. Like,
tell us about the Cocoa Club.
Well, I started doing it predominantly because I was finding it difficult to find gigs, and I needed to work on my own craft, my own stage time, and get minutes on stage. That's how you develop. So I started running it with an American comedian called Ashley Strand. That's a guy now, not Ashley the girl, who's since left for tax reasons. I don't know. We can't talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
But yeah, so we ran kind of a quasi open mic night in a back room in the Grafton on Oliver Plunkett Street on a Thursday night, and it was shit. It was really bad, really bad.
Why?
Because we were useless. We were not funny. We just didn't know what we were doing, and it took us about 5 or 6 months to kind of get our bearings. And I think we kind of bit off a little bit more than we could chew at the start as well, just being naive and trying to rush in and get to the top straight away. But 7 years later, we're still not anywhere near the top.
But that's like, I've met a couple of comedians in my time, and that's the one thing that strikes me about comedians is your absolute lack of fear. It's like, you know,
well, spiders, I'm fucking petrified of spiders. You know.
No, but you do have to be brave to stand up and try and be funny, like.
There is that, but I think if it's in you, you'll conquer that pretty much straight away. And the thing is, once you get on stage as well, because you prepare all your stuff. A lot of people think that, Jesus, he's just gone up there and he's made that up off the top of his head. That's not the case at all. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes and rehearsing and writing and rewriting and stuff like that. And when you're on stage, the time, like when you're starting off, you might only be doing like 5 or 7 minutes. That goes like 30 seconds. And once you're off, then you're absolutely buzzing, and you just can't wait to get back up and again. And that fear, well, for me, I can only really speak for myself, but that evaporates. Plus, I never really had the fear, but I did a lot of drama and stuff when I was younger, so I kind of I liked the limelight and being up on stage.
Does it ever happen to you that, like, in the middle of a gig, you suddenly get a moment of self-awareness, like, what am I doing?
Well, it would happen an awful lot at the start when you're kind of finding your voice. When you're trying to go, what kind of generally when you start off, you'll be like, like comics that you like yourself is, you'll try and emulate their style, or you'll try and I liked Richard Pryor, Bill Hicks, Steve Martin, and I would have kind of said, that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be the next white Richard Pryor from Cork, from Mallow. But like I ended up doing something like my style now was completely different to where I would have, from where I thought I was going. And you find that by getting minutes on stage, and you find your voice on stage really, and generally it's completely different from what you thought it would be.
What's planned for the Cork Comedy Club?
Well,
or for Cork Comedy Festival. Sorry,
Cork Comedy Festival. Well, last year we ran one gig during the festival. Jane Russell, Neil Delamere's wife, is is the main organizer of the Cork Comedy Festival, and she touched base with all the clubs in Cork last year to try and, which I thought was a really generous move on her behalf to kind of to be inclusive, to try and get everyone involved in it, and to build the community, because obviously the more people that are involved in it, the better it's going to be for the whole festival in itself. So we did one show with them last year, and it was a sellout, and it was a really, really good show. And then she got in touch again this year and said, look, that was unbelievable last year. We want you to do 4 shows this year in conjunction with the festival as a part of the official festival. So we are doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we're taking the Coco, which is really exciting. We're in the Roundy on Castle Street every Wednesday and Thursday.
Yes.
But we are doing 2 of the Cork Comedy Festival shows in the Roundy. But we're also taking one of the shows to the Opera House and one of the shows to the Everyman, which is super exciting for us.
That on the Friday.
The Friday we're in the Everyman, and
The
actually
Opera House.
and the Opera House. We're doing
Yes.
two shows on the Friday. That's right, yeah.
In the
So
main bar.
in the Everyman bar and the Opera House.
The other thing that struck me about this year that I'm intrigued about is that there's a kid-friendly section.
Yes.
And the Lords of Strut.
Keane and Cormac.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're going to be on it.
First of all, the Lords of Strut are absolutely amazing.
They're amazing.
And I remember going back like 6-7 years ago.
You're friends with them?
Oh yeah, I know them very
Will
well.
you tell them I said hello?
I'll tell them you said hello.
Wow,
yeah,
they're so cool.
And
They're so hot right now.
they're just, well, Britain's Got Talent. They've got a 4-star review in the Dublin Fringe at the moment. They're hardest working, most genuine, soundest guys that you could meet.
Yeah.
Keane did a gig. Keane does a little bit of solo stand-up as well. Keane has done a few solo stand-ups in Coco, and the Lords of Strut have performed in the Coco Club as well. So no, they're absolutely phenomenal. And
I'd love to see them performing in an enclosed space, because they do a lot of stuff in Tony's Bistro as well, their Uncle Tony's Bistro.
Well, I think in their show at the moment they have a game of invisible tennis in the middle of the show, and they bring like a load of people on stage as the crowd going, now let's kind of carry on. Just they're genius.
Brilliant.
She'll probably be
but whatever about the Lords of Strut and the likes of that, and Alison Spittle and PJ Gallagher and all the amazing people that are going to be at Cork Comedy Festival, it's all about you, because you came in this evening, Cornelius.
It's to be honest, the whole festival is all about me. Yeah, the whole lot of it. Yeah, I mean, it would be nothing without me. I'm just saying that. I don't want to be.
Would you mind giving the viewers a little taste of what you can do?
I do comedy poems. So I'm going to do one. I talk a little bit about. I talk about my weight. I talk about my marriage. I met my wife online. I have poems about that. So I'm going to do a poem called Fat, which is.
I heard it before, and it's something that I feel can really relate to as well.
Well, you're not fat at all, Fiona. Jesus Christ.
I was looking for the compliment there. Thank you.
Well, you got it. You're the exact opposite to fat.
You're a charmer.
Yeah. This is fat here. Look. This. Actually, my legs aren't too bad at the moment. So I've been working mainly on my legs, though. Right. Fat by me, Cornelius Patrick O'Sullivan. I'm on Facebook. Once upon a time, I used to be thin. My face, my ankles, my belly, my skin. I'd eat what I wanted without care in this world, and the beautifulest women in dance halls I twirled. Anything edible did pass these lips. Perhaps that explains my massive man tits. Down through the years, as I slowly got bigger, the allure of said dance halls slowly grew slimmer, but care I did not, as I just kept on eating, completely oblivious that the man boobs were meeting. Pizza, potato, lasagna, fajita, to combat heartburn, some milk of magnesia. But that was then, and this is now. And when old friends see me, they say, wow, Christ, Cornelius, long time no see me. But tell me this though, have you put on weight?